Hello, angels. It is MJ over at Angelo Maternity Services, and I'm back with another video. Today, I want to talk to you guys about the top 5 reasons why we do not share our birth stories. Okay, so the purpose of this video is to normalize telling women what happens to them during birth and at the appropriate time and in a healthy way. At the appropriate time and in a healthy way are the key words. Okay. Story time. You guys know I love stories, so let's do it. When I was, I would say, early 20s, maybe later. We won't go into those details, but my niece gave birth. Long story short, when you come from a complex family and your mom has older children, you end up with nieces or nephews that are either older than you or in your same age range. So I was blessed with a niece that is just a few years younger than me. And my niece was pregnant and she went in labor. And as it is customary, all the women in my family gathered around and we went to her birth. And so um, while there, my niece gave birth, healthy baby, and everything. And she's lying in bed, and we're all just kind of congratulatory, and we're talking about all the details of her birth. And we're getting down to the nitty gritty. I mean, we are talking no bars held about like everything that we observed, and because it was just an open forum like that. And I loved it. I felt like, wow. And I think it was my first birth, and I didn't actually get to witness because I came in a little late, but my nephew was born. He's actually my great nephew because he's my niece's son. And so I'm sitting there and I'm listening to all the women discuss everything. And I'm super excited because I've always been fascinated by all things baby. And whenever a baby is born in my family, it is the one of the most fascinating and exciting times of my life. And so I'm sitting there and I just can't wait to hold my nephew. That's all I'm thinking about. And my sisters and everybody were talking, and my other nieces are talking. And all of a sudden, my niece, who just gave birth, says, "Come over here, girl, and help me go to the restroom." So I'm like, okay. So I go over to her and she gets up and she's kind of just leaning on my shoulder a little bit as I escort her to the restroom. And and when she got in, I didn't want to say it in front of her, but I was just blown away. As soon as she got in the restroom, I looked around at the other women in the room and I go, "Oh my God, I can't believe you can walk after just having a baby." And laughter erupted all over the room, guys. And let me tell you, I was a bit embarrassed. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. I was embarrassed because it was in that moment that I realized that there were so many things that I didn't know about having a baby. And I remember my sister looking at me and saying, "What did you think? Her legs were going to fall apart? Like, what did you think would happen if she got up and she walked?" And it was kind of snarky, you know? And it was like, well, I actually don't know what to think. I thought, this is what I actually thought. This is before I had any formal education on birth or had ever witnessed any births. I thought that after a baby came out, because it's this huge baby and this is pretty large coming through that part of our bodies, that things would be kind of discombobulated, like the bones, pelvic bones, and all the bones would be, yeah, shattered, and you wouldn't be able to walk for a while. Like, this was in my brain, right? Because I didn't know how else would I know what would happen. And I was a bit naive about all of womanly things. Let's just be honest. I was still very young, probably old enough to know what happens after you have a baby, but I'd never had a baby before, and I'd never witnessed anyone else having a baby. So I just didn't know. I was ignorant, quite frankly. And I remember my sisters and everybody's kind of looking at me like I'm an alien. They're just like, "Girl, really, seriously, are you okay?" And I was so embarrassed. And I just, in my mind, again, like I said, I thought that your bones would be, maybe not broken, but a little gnarly, a little mangled, maybe. I didn't know. I just didn't know. And they laughed. They laughed at me, and they kind of probably, felt sorry for me. Nobody voiced that, but I'm sure they did kind of feel like, wow, we got a lot of work to do with her. And and things went on, and of course I got to hold my baby nephew, and yeah, it was lovely. It was still a very warm and exciting experience. But again, that is, kind of how a lot of us as women these days come into the knowledge of what happens at birth. I will say I was blessed in the sense that at least I wasn't pregnant, right? And figuring all of that out in the midst of like going through it, right? So I find that sometimes we're not really fully aware of what happens to our bodies or what our bodies are capable of, but more importantly, how the process of birth might affect us, because nobody actually told us about those possibilities. And it is kind of funny in a way, but also, I think, sad. This is one of the huge frustrations that I have as a birth doula, is that sometimes I get questions from mom, which I welcome, and there are things that they don't know, right? This woman is going to have a baby very soon, and there's some things that they're not clear on. Now, I don't expect women to know all the medical jargon or everything that's going to happen in the process or things like that. But I think the basis of childbirth, I think this is something that our mothers and our grandmothers and our aunts and even other women in the community that are doulas and professionals should take the time to sit down and talk about. The women in our families, we should create a birth circle and take the time to actually talk about these things. And I know that I'm preaching to the choir, because a lot of women are probably going to say, I didn't even get sex education. I didn't even know until, I was this many days old or this many years old about how to take care of my body or any of the things that are a part of life, quite frankly, for women, right? And so the Bible says that older women should train younger women. I think this is Titus 2, verse 4 through 8. And this particular Bible verse, I'm not a preacher, I'm not, any of those spiritual leaders or anything like that, but this Bible verse had me thinking about not just the things that we need to learn in terms of what is listed in the Bible, because this is not particularly spelled out in that verse, but it did make me think about how some of the women who have gone through this before us have some responsibility, don't they, to teach us these things. We shouldn't be finding out and being laughed at. I guess it was a funny situation. It was funny in the moment, but no woman should have to learn about those kind of things through trial and error. And so this is one of my frustrations with being a doula, is that when a mom comes to me and asks me a question about something, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe that we're not teaching women this. I can't believe that as, young women, we're not learning this stuff. And it frustrates me with society, because I think a lot of this is kept secret and it should not be. And so, as curious as I am, I begin to ask women why they didn't share their birth stories with other women. And these are some of the answers that I got. Number one, and I got my notes here, guys, to make sure I don't mess anything up. Number one, the top reason: if we told you what happens when you're about to have a baby, you wouldn't want to do it. Okay, so let's talk about this. You're telling me that you think it's okay to not tell me all of the things, and ladies, think about all of the things that happen to you or could possibly happen to you when you're having a baby, including being unalived. And to have someone think that it's better for you not to know that than to be adequately informed, because let's face it, you might not want to do it. And I think that every woman has a right to make that decision and should be well informed so that she can say whether or not she wants to ever have children. Okay? I think that that is wholesale unethical. Let's just keep it real. To keep that secret, the secrets of birth and postpartum and all of the things, from women because we think if we tell them they wouldn't want to do it. That's even more reason why we should inform them. Okay. Number two, I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want anyone to know what happened to me, right? This is valid, right? Because I think with each woman and with each woman's birth, there is privacy that's inherent in that you deserve to have. So I do believe that a woman should not have to share her experience. I believe in the autonomy of your experience being your own. So this one's a tough one, but again, this is something that most women, not all women, but most women will go through in their lives. And I think as as being a part of a group of women, I think there is some responsibility on us to pass these things down to other women, even if it's just simply your daughter, even if it's simply your nieces, even if it's simply your female cousins that are younger than you. We have some responsibility to inform and to teach. Okay. Anyway, number three, nobody told me, so why should I tell you? Now, this one has some particular, I think, a little bit of drama associated with it because it has an undertone of I suffered, so should you. And I think as a woman, part of being a nurturing, giving, life-giving being, part of being someone who brings life into this world, who nurtures life, who is a part of what is considered a feminine being, right? Wanting someone else to suffer because we suffered, and I get it, you feel like, oh, I'm giving somebody something that I didn't get. But that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. That is, I suffered. I don't want to see you suffer as well. If I can help you in any way to avoid the suffering that I have gone through, I want to do that. So let me know in the comments how you guys feel about, number three. How do you feel about number three? Number three kind of hit me in the heart space because I don't want to see people go through the nonsense or the drama or the pain that I've endured. I want better for other humans, but especially the people that I love and care for and for my clients. So that kind of hit me in the heart space. Yeah, that one hit me hard. Number four, I don't want to remember it. It was so traumatic. This one hit me in the heart too. This one had me feeling all the feels. And one of the reasons being is because I know that trauma is real and I do know that you can relive trauma. I was a psych nurse for a number of years, and I'm just here to say that my heart goes out to you. And also, anyone who has experienced their birth as traumatic, this is also valid. Okay. So there are some valid reasons why you wouldn't want to share your birth story. I encourage anyone who does have a traumatic birth story. There are therapists and professionals that specialize in traumatic birth. If you want to know more about that, please email me. And yeah, we can talk about it. But yeah, that is a valid one. So that one I can't really hold too much. And I've heard that one from numerous people. Again, I mentioned in one of my other videos that I was there was maybe like 50 of us in a room. We were talking and we were asked, like, why did you become a doula? And a lot of the women in the room said, I chose to become a doula because I had a traumatic birth experience and I didn't want to see other women go through the same. So yes, this is a thing, and it is a very important, I think, topic to actually talk about. I might actually do a video on traumatic birth experiences at some point because I think it's really important. And a couple of those doulas had been medical professionals who had become doulas as well, which I thought was kind of interesting and also made me feel very at home because I was also coming from medicine into the doula world, which is a whole nother world. And so that made me feel very welcome and also made me understand that I wasn't alone in coming out of the medical world and going into the doula world, which is similar, but a little bit different. We have different approaches into how we do things. Medical is medical, doula work is non-medical, basically. But yeah, so yeah, that's all I have to say for that one. But yeah, that one's valid. Please reach out to me if you had a traumatic birth experience and you want some resources surrounding that. Why would they, number 5, the top 5 reasons? This is an answer that I got. Why would they need to know that? Okay, so that being a lot of things, because a lot of things happen to you when you're pregnant, when you are giving birth, and when you are in the postpartum period that may otherwise ever happen to you throughout your life if you decided not to have children, not to give birth, right? So that, why would they need to know that? That word, that encompasses a lot, right? That encompasses, prime example, and this is not a very common thing, but it's becoming more common. A lot of women choose to preserve their placenta. They want to take it after their baby is born, and they want to consume it in some form, whether it be pill form, whether it be shakes, whatever you call it. I don't want to go into the details, right? But they want to consume their placenta. I would think that women would want to know that their placenta, before they consume it, what that entails. I'm gonna mention a few things. A few things that entails is your placenta being exposed to, obviously, that area of your body where it's coming out from. It's being exposed to urine. It's exposed to feces, and sometimes more. Okay. Again, there are a lot of women that don't know. Sometimes during the birthing process, you will have a bowel movement that happens. It is just a natural process, and it can happen. It doesn't always happen, but it can happen. And again, your placenta, during birth, the priority is the safety of mom and the comfort of mom and baby. Safety of mom and baby, comfort of mom and baby. Not necessarily keeping a placenta clean, if there even is such a thing. Placentas are considered biohazards in some settings. And so, but this is the reason why women need to understand what's happening with their body, what could possibly happen, because no single birth is uniform. Even with one woman, she can have 3 kids and all 3 of those births be totally different. But the idea and having a general understanding around what birth looks like, what you might be able to expect in this whole process, right? In pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. So the question I have for you guys, why are we keeping secrets about one of life's most one of women's most life-changing events? Like, most women are going to experience childbirth. Why are we keeping secrets about that? How do we benefit other women from doing that? Again, let's talk about the reals here, because I like to keep things real. Some women use childbirth as a way to weaponize their "I'm not in this alone" mentality. Whatever that aloneness is, right? Have you ever been pregnant and told a birth horror story as a way to humble you or to get a desired reaction out of you? Okay, for example, have you ever had that fam enemy? Yeah, fam enemy that can't stand you, all of a sudden become the pregnancy expert advisor as soon as they know you are with child? Have you ever experienced that? If you have, please leave a comment below and tell us what your experience was, because I've heard some of these stories and they're quite interesting. Okay. By the way, if you were ever this person, as we all have been Nancy at some point in our lives, we've all been hater Hattie. We have, we can all improve on being more positive. So this is not, a personal assault on anyone, but not necessarily always malicious, but just not as tactful as we'd like to be, right? We've all experienced where we maybe said something or came back later on and was like, wow, yeah, I could have been nicer about that. Or wow, I probably could have said that a little bit with a little bit more tact. So again, there is always an opportunity to do better, right? To be better. Embrace your sister in love and humility. That is the thing. When someone is pregnant, they're newly pregnant, please don't take that as an opportunity to tell them something weird. Congratulations. If you don't know what it's to say, congratulations is always good. And even congratulations sometimes is not appropriate because there's times when women are pregnant that they may not be happy about it. So, something like, well, how are you feeling during your pregnancy? Or how do you feel about the news that you're now pregnant, right? Some sort of connection with that person and find out where are they. She may not be happy about this pregnancy. Pregnancies result from all sorts of situations. Not every woman is celebratory, right? So we have to be very careful about it. My natural inclination is to be, oh my God, congratulations. But I learned that it's not always a congratulatory experience, not for every woman. So a more appropriate thing to say would be, wow, how are you feeling now that you know you're pregnant? Or, wow, you look amazing. How far along are you? Or just something very sort of neutral and, kind. Kind is the key word. So if you want to join me on this conversation about pregnancy horror stories and how positive birth stories have the power to inspire us, join me for Birth Horror Stories. I'm live tomorrow. I will try to do it around 12 o'clock. I can't be 100% sure that is the time I will do it, but that's giving you guys an idea. I'm a birth and postpartum doula. My name is Angelo. I found value in having these conversations with other women. I hope you found value in this video today. If you want to go into your pregnancy, your birth, and your postpartum period, and your season courageous and celebratory, my email is in the description box. I'd love to meet you, and I'm offering you a free consultation. Okay? Like, subscribe, and click the notifications bell to be notified when I post videos. I'm going live every day except Saturday until further notice. If you want my doula services and you don't know what to expect an angel. See you guys in the next video. Bye.